The Prince of Wales says the past year has been the hardest of his life. He solemnly promised to govern the people, and as he reflects on his father's legacy, he emphasizes the importance of the upcoming weekend. Meanwhile, Prince William's desperate plea to honor Queen Elizabeth's last wishes has shaken the royal family to its core. He reportedly begged King Charles and Queen Camilla to follow the Queen's final will, but their refusal has sparked a wave of tension. Could this be the moment that changes the royal family's future forever? Let's uncover the shocking details that could lead to a new civil war within the royal family, pitting two factions against each other. The Queen's will has always been a closely guarded document, hidden behind the gilded walls of the palace. But when Prince William allegedly took it upon himself to reveal its contents, everything changed. This was no ordinary reading. The information within reportedly shocked the royal family, leaving King Charles and Camilla visibly stunned. Sources claim that the will's instructions were not just surprising, but disruptive, shaking the foundations of royal tradition. For a family that thrives on secrecy and ritual, this revelation was a bombshell. Before we dive into this, it's clear that the Queen's final wishes carry consequences far more shocking than anyone could have predicted, and this revelation is only the beginning. According to insiders, the will was more than a legal document. It was a blueprint for the future of the monarchy. It outlined changes that could shift power dynamics and redefine roles within the family. While some viewed these directives as forward-thinking, others saw them as deeply unsettling. Tensions reportedly flared among senior royals, with heated debates about the implications of the Queen's final wishes. Could this document be the catalyst for a new era, or would it deepen the cracks in the royal family's carefully maintained facade? Prince William's decision to unveil the will wasn't just a procedural act. It was a bold move signaling his readiness to step into a larger leadership role. By doing so, he demonstrated a willingness to embrace transparency, even at the risk of backlash. The moment was reportedly emotional, with some family members moved to tears by the weight of the Queen's words, but this act of bravery also opened the door to criticism, as not everyone was pleased with his choice. The fallout from this decision continues to ripple through the royal household. Among the most shocking revelations was the redistribution of Balmoral Castle, a cherished royal estate. Traditionally, properties like this follow a strict line of succession, but the Queen's will reportedly broke from this norm. The castle's new allocation caused a stir both within the family and among royal watchers. The changes didn't stop there. The will also included surprising details about the Queen's private wealth, including her art collection and jewelry. Some items were given to unexpected recipients, sparking frustration and feelings of betrayal among certain family members. One particularly contentious issue was the allocation of the Queen's jewelry. Some pieces that were expected to go to Catherine, Princess of Wales, were reportedly redistributed. This decision allegedly left Catherine disappointed and raised questions about Queen Camilla's role in the process. Did Camilla influence these changes for personal reasons, or was there a larger strategy at play? The speculation surrounding this issue has only fueled tensions within the royal household. Princess, and known for her unwavering dedication to tradition, reportedly expressed deep concern over the will's potential fallout. Insiders claim she advised King Charles to proceed with caution, warning of the instability these changes could bring. Anne's focus was on preserving the monarchy's structure, which she feared could be undermined by the redistribution of assets and responsibilities. Despite her concerns, Anne remains steadfast in her commitment to upholding her mother's legacy, taking a hands-on role in managing equestrian-related assets. Queen Camilla has also found herself at the center of controversy. Allegations have emerged that she played a role in altering some of the Queen's decisions, particularly regarding the sale of prized horses and the distribution of jewelry. These actions have drawn criticism from both family members and the public, who see them as a possible deviation from the Queen's wishes. Camilla's growing influence within the royal household has become a point of contention, with some questioning her motives and authority. The fallout from the will reading has left King Charles and Camilla feeling isolated. According to insiders, the Queen's decisions reportedly challenge their authority, creating tension that is yet to subside. One of the most controversial points was the alleged sale of the Queen's horses, a move that many saw as a betrayal of her legacy. This decision not only upset Princess Anne but also angered royal supporters who viewed it as disrespectful. Adding to the controversy is Camilla's recent decision to adopt the title of Queen instead of Queen Consort. This move, perceived by some as an overreach, has further strained relationships within the family. It's unclear whether this change was a strategic decision or a personal choice, but it has certainly added to the ongoing tensions the royal family now faces. The royal family now faces the challenge of reconciling these differences while maintaining their public image. Public reaction to these revelations has been equally divided. Many royal supporters have expressed disappointment, questioning the monarchy's ability to navigate such a turbulent time. Prince Andrew, whose inheritance was reportedly reduced due to his controversial past, has also faced backlash. Meanwhile, Camilla's alleged role in influencing the will's contents has drawn sharp criticism, with some accusing her of overstepping her bounds. The reading of Queen Elizabeth's will has undoubtedly marked a turning point for the monarchy. For Prince William, it was a moment to step into the spotlight and demonstrate his leadership capabilities. For King Charles, it has presented new challenges in balancing tradition with modern expectations. The redistribution of wealth and responsibilities has highlighted the evolving dynamics within the royal family, with younger members taking on more prominent roles. Despite the upheaval, the monarchy's future remains uncertain. Can the royal family overcome these divisions and adapt to a changing world, or will these revelations weaken their foundation? The Queen's final wishes have left an indelible mark on the institution, setting the stage for what could be a transformative era. As the royal family grapples with these challenges, all eyes will be on how they navigate this pivotal moment in history. After the Queen's will shook the family, Prince William stepped forward, ready to take on his role in a changing royal world. Born on June 21, 1982, at St. Mary's Hospital in London, Prince William, the firstborn of Charles, Prince of Wales, and Diana, Princess of Wales, entered the world under intense public scrutiny. His full name, William Arthur Philip Lewis, felt almost as royal as his lineage. His christening on August 4th, coinciding with his great-grandmother Queen Elizabeth's 82nd birthday, was an elaborate affair held in the music room at Buckingham Palace, with the Archbishop of Canterbury officiating. The event brought together an impressive list of godparents, including former King Constantine of Greece and Lady Susan Hussey, underscoring the weight of expectations placed on him as the first Prince of Wales child born in over 70 years. It didn't take long for William to step into his role as a symbol of modern royalty. At just 9 months old, he joined his parents on a tour of Australia and New Zealand, marking a fresh approach to royal duties. His younger brother, Harry, came along 2 years later in September 1984. The brothers' childhood was split between the grandeur of Kensington Palace in London and the countryside calm of Highgrove House in Gloucestershire, offering them a blend of opulence and normalcy. Within the palace walls, he was simply Wills, but Diana affectionately called him Wombat, a nickname he reportedly found annoying. Despite the pomp surrounding them, Diana made sure her sons experienced life beyond royal protocols. She took them to McDonald's for happy meals, visited shelters for the homeless, and introduced them to people affected by AIDS, teaching them compassion and grounding them in realities far removed from palace life. As a child, William was lively, sometimes mischievous, but also unusually thoughtful. Diana often described him as her little wise old man, a phrase that hinted at his maturity even in his early teens. When her marriage to Charles fell apart, she leaned on him emotionally, a role no teenager should have to bear. Yet his steady demeanor often gave Diana the comfort she needed. His first official royal appearance came in 1991 during a visit to Llandaff on St. David's Day. Not long after, he accompanied his parents on a Canadian tour, his youthful charm captivating everyone. Trips to Canada became somewhat of a tradition, as he visited again in 1998 with his father and Harry. These public engagements showcased his growing ease in the spotlight, even as his family life grew more complicated. In 1996, the world watched as Charles and Diana's troubled marriage ended in divorce, and just 1 year later, tragedy struck when Diana died in a car crash in Paris. He was only 15 and Harry was 12. The news reached them while they were staying with their father at Balmoral Castle, and the days that followed were somber. William had to grapple with both personal grief and public scrutiny, walking behind Diana's coffin during her funeral procession in a deeply emotional moment. Encouraged by his grandfather, Prince Philip, he joined the solemn march, showcasing remarkable composure amid heartbreak. Academically, William's education began at Mrs. Minor's nursery school in London, followed by Wetherby School and Ludgrove School. By 1995, he was enrolled at Eton College, breaking the royal tradition of attending Gordonstown. At Eton, he excelled, particularly in sports like swimming and water polo, proving to be a well-rounded student. His time at the prestigious school also allowed him some degree of normalcy away from the relentless gaze of the press. After finishing Eton, he took a gap year, embracing diverse experiences from participating in army training and biz to working on dairy farms in England and traveling across Africa. He gained insights into different cultures and lifestyles, which shaped his worldview and prepared him for the responsibilities that lay ahead. In 2001, he enrolled at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland, initially studying art history before switching to geography. The move to St. Andrews turned out to be life-changing, not just academically, but personally. It was here that he met Catherine Middleton, better known as Kate. Their relationship began as a friendship but blossomed into romance, setting the stage for one of the most talked-about royal relationships in modern history. He graduated in 2005 with a Master of Arts degree, marking another milestone in his path toward adulthood. Post-university, his path led to a military career. He attended the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, where he was commissioned as an officer in the British Army in December 2006. His military career included joining the Household Cavalry and training as a helicopter pilot for the Royal Air Force Search and Rescue Force. Between 2010 and 2013, he worked as a search and rescue pilot, participating in critical missions and showcasing his dedication to service. William's early years were a mix of privilege, personal trials, and a unique upbringing that sought to balance tradition with modernity. Diana's influence was particularly profound, instilling in him a deep sense of empathy and a commitment to social causes. These values have remained evident throughout his life, from his advocacy for mental health awareness to his work on homelessness and wildlife conservation. While his life's trajectory was always going to be extraordinary, his early experiences set the foundation for the man he would become. From the tragedy of losing his mother to the pressures of royal life, William has navigated challenges with a level of grace that resonates with many. His ability to connect with people and address societal issues with authenticity has solidified his role as a future king who understands the value of compassion and service. With Prince William rising to the challenge, the Queen's passing became a time to look back on her life and the changes her death brought. The day the world lost a queen, Queen Elizabeth's death on September 8, 2022, marked the end of an era that most people alive today had never seen without her. Passing at 96, she outlived many of her contemporaries and reigned for 70 years, the longest of any British monarch. The official cause was listed as old age, and she died peacefully at Balmoral Castle in Scotland. By her side were her eldest son, Charles, now King Charles III, and her daughter, Princess Anne. Other family members like William and Andrew rushed to Balmoral but arrived too late. In the days before her death, the Queen's health became a growing concern, and just 2 days earlier, the world knew the end was imminent. Queen Elizabeth broke tradition when she met the new Prime Minister, Liz Truss, at Balmoral instead of Buckingham Palace. This small yet significant change hinted at her declining mobility. When Buckingham Palace later announced that her doctors were worried about her health, the world's attention immediately turned to her. Family members hurried to her side, signaling the gravity of the situation, and it became clear that this was more than just a routine health update. Her death triggered a meticulously planned protocol known as Operation London Bridge, a step-by-step plan for what would follow her passing. Since she died in Scotland, Operation Unicorn came into effect, detailing procedures unique to her location. Her coffin was initially placed in the Balmoral Castle ballroom for staff and close friends to pay their respects. From there, it was transported to the Palace of Holyrood House in Edinburgh, with a solemn procession along the Royal Mile, ending at St. Giles Cathedral, where the crown of Scotland was placed on her coffin. Thousands of people lined up to say their goodbyes as she lay there. The next phase brought her to London. Her coffin was flown to the capital and taken to Buckingham Palace before a grand procession moved it to Westminster Hall, where the Queen lay in state for 4 days. An estimated 250,000 people queued for hours, some overnight, to pay their respects. The atmosphere was somber yet united, with people from all walks of life coming together. Her vigil was guarded by elite units, while her family held their own solemn watch beside her coffin. The state funeral on September 19th was nothing short of historic, held at Westminster Abbey, the first funeral for a monarch there in over 200 years. The world watched as presidents, royalty, and dignitaries filled the abbey, while the streets of London were packed with mourners as her coffin made its way to Wellington Arch. From there, it was taken to Windsor Castle, where her path ended. At Windsor, a committal service was held at St. George's Chapel, attended by family and close staff. Later that evening, in a private ceremony, she was laid to rest in the King George VI Memorial Chapel, where she joined her husband, Prince Philip, who had passed away just the year before. This final resting place also holds the Queen's parents and her sister, Princess Margaret, symbolizing a family reunion in eternity. Across the world, her death sparked waves of grief and remembrance. In the United Kingdom, public spaces filled with flowers, notes, and tokens of respect. People shared stories of meeting the Queen, reflecting on her kindness and unwavering commitment to her role. Tributes poured in from global leaders, praising her as a symbol of stability during a century of rapid change. Even in countries with a complex history with the British monarchy, her personal legacy was acknowledged. The Queen's passing brought grief and change, leaving King Charles to carry her legacy while leading the monarchy through this new chapter. The world after Queen Elizabeth's national mourning brought life in the UK to a temporary halt. Events were cancelled, flags flew at half-mast, and the day of her funeral became a public holiday. Communities came together for local memorials, reflecting the deep emotional connection many felt with their queen. Her death wasn't just the end of a reign, it was a farewell to a figure who had shaped modern history. With her passing, Charles immediately became king. His first address as monarch was filled with emotion as he paid tribute to his mother's unparalleled service. The Accession Council formally proclaimed him as the new monarch in a ceremony broadcast live for the first time. Charles's early days as king saw him traveling across the UK to meet citizens and leaders, acknowledging both their grief and support. He stepped into a role that had been shaped and elevated by his mother's example. Elizabeth's reign had been marked by extraordinary change. When she ascended the throne in 1952, the British Empire was transitioning into the Commonwealth. Over her 70 years, she became a symbol of continuity through wars, social revolutions, and technological advancements. Her steadfastness was a comfort to many, and her weekly meetings with prime ministers ensured she stayed connected to the changing world. From Winston Churchill to Liz Truss, she offered advice and maintained a steady presence in political life. Her personal interests made her relatable to many. She loved horses and was a regular at horse racing events, where her knowledge of breeding was highly respected. Her affection for her corgis became an iconic part of her image. Through her annual Christmas broadcast, she connected with millions, sharing reflections and messages of hope. These small traditions made her feel like a part of people's lives, despite the grandeur of her position. However, her death also reignited debates about the monarchy's future. Some questioned its relevance in today's world, while others saw it as a vital link to the past. Charles, having spent decades preparing for this role, inherited not just a throne but the challenges of modernizing an ancient institution. His work in environmental advocacy and charitable efforts had already set the tone for what people expect from his reign. Yet the transition was bound to come with scrutiny in comparison to his mother's legacy. Memorials and tributes to the Queen sprung up in the months after her death. Coins and stamps still bearing her image became cherished keepsakes, gradually replaced by those featuring the new king. Public buildings hosted exhibitions celebrating her life, and schools incorporated her story into their lessons. Globally, nations within the Commonwealth reflected on her impact, holding their own ceremonies and memorials. Her influence stretched far beyond the UK, showcasing her role as a diplomat and unifier. Elizabeth's death wasn't just the passing of a monarch, it was the closing of a chapter in global history. Her life embodied dedication, tradition, and the ability to adapt in a changing world. The ceremonies that followed her death gave people a chance to grieve, reflect, and honor her contributions. As King Charles begins his reign, the world watches to see how he will navigate the path she helped pave. The era of Queen Elizabeth II is over, but her legacy will resonate for generations. Could King Charles and Queen Camilla's decisions be hiding something deeper, or is this a royal feud spiraling out of control? Share your thoughts and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.